Hey guys, welcome back to Chariot Palmistry. It is the start of 2021 and I thought this is a great time to do a video, my political predictions for this whole year. We've had a really good run over 2020 in terms of a lot of my political predictions coming out. So I thought I'd do a very quick recap on that and then we'll show you guys the predictions on what I think is going to happen over most of this year. I did want to make this video about a month or two ago because I'm calculating a year beginning with Jupiter's transit into Capricorn. So technically it happened at the end of November, but let's just stick with a calendar year. The reason I'm mentioning that now is because one of my predictions for this year is actually already starting to happen. But before we look at all of that, let's have a recap of 2020 to see where the energy was sitting for most of this year, because that'll make sense going into next year too. So this is a screenshot of a video I made earlier this year, where I was predicting extreme social unrest in the USA, Russia, Pakistan and China. And that pretty much stayed to script here. We had Black Lives Matter happening in America. There was a Chaz rebellion in, I think it was Seattle. There was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Russia had extreme social unrest. There was a part of the country in the Far East that was wanting to secede. And there was actually an assassination attempt on the foreign leader of Russia. I think it was poisoned from memory. There's also some news coming out of Russia that says that Putin may well have Alzheimer's. And if that's true, he could be looking to resign next year. Now, I've got to say that the Kremlin's come out and called fake news on this one, so we don't know exactly where that's sitting. But let's keep an eye on that for next year. There's extreme social unrest in Pakistan as well, although they did not get into a war, rebellion or civil war with anybody this year. China had extreme social unrest in Hong Kong this year, and they provoked a war with India too. So as far as I can tell, we got 8 out of 9 right on that one. And then there were the US elections this year. I made a series of predictions on that one too, so let's have a look at that. This is a screenshot from my video earlier in the year on that one. We predicted insecurity in Britain, which happened. I think the EU sued Britain. Based off that, we could predict that there'd be a contested election in the US. But then there were scandals for both candidates in September. There's uncertain outcome on election night. There were some states talking about secession. The US dollar has been in the gutter ever since then, and the results were delivered towards the end of December. There is a 7th prediction here, but we may not know the results of that for a little while now. So we'll come back in a year or a year and a bit and fill you guys in on that. But we're 6 out of 6 on those predictions too. Now I'd like to take a moment now just to read out some of the comments I got on that US elections video, because it was one of the most disliked videos I got in the entire history of the channel. A lot of Trump supporters didn't like the fact that I called him a lying sociopath, and I basically mirrored his energy up to that of Rahu, the planet for deception. And it's making that observation that helped me to get all these predictions right with the US elections. Let's just have a look at a few of them because I think they'll make you laugh. Susan Feldman said, "This is a joke, right? This is not even astrology. This analysis is nonsensical. It's all gobbledygook. Save your time, not worth watching." To which I'd say to Susan, look at the results. I mean, you can't be more accurate than what we've been so far with this. Carolyn Sear said, "Find another vocation." And again, I don't know what you're expecting out of me. I'm not a political commentator. I'm a Jyotisha, connecting astrology with humanity. Look at the results. They'll speak for themselves on this one. Honeybee says, "You lost all credibility when you started with the childish insults. Is it too much to report on the astrological aspects and your interpretation of them? Keep your political views out of it." To which I'd say, Honeybee, I did not make any political comments here at all about left-leaning policies or right-leaning policies. If you think childish insults are calling Trump a liar and a narcissist, well, these are just factual statements. They're not opinions. Ajay J said, "A lot of BS. Avoid this guy." Ajay, 6 out of 6, mate. There's nothing more for me to say on that one. But my favorite comment there came from Dusty Rose, who said, "Donald Trump does not lie. As a matter of fact, has become a saved Christian, a follower of Jesus Christ." I can't help you. I'm just not even going to comment on that one. Let's skip right past all of that and get into the 2021 predictions. So for 2021, we have these events to look forward to. My first prediction is that there's going to be stimulus or money printing direct to the people. For most of 2020, the stimulus that's been taking place, most of that money has actually been going to the banks or to businesses. It hasn't actually come to the people itself. What I think is going to happen is over 2021, the central banks are going to panic and start writing out checks to the common man and woman as if it's candy. They're going to up the ante and go crazy and all out in stimulus. My second prediction is that there's going to be a new war or conflict in the Middle East. This isn't rocket science. There's basically always a new war and conflict in the Middle East. But where I'm going with this is mapping the energy of the first Persian Gulf War in 1991. That astrological combination that created that conflict is in play over most of 2021. So I think there's going to be a new war or a new conflict starting up in the Middle East. So let's look to the headlines for that of most of next year. My third prediction, and this is one that's actually already taken place, is that I think there's going to be a new virus starting out of the UK. And I may be behind the eight ball on this one, but where I'm going with this, or my logic for it, is that like the Persian Gulf War, the astrological combinations that created that are also the same astrological combinations that created mad cow's disease in the UK all those years ago. And that's the energy of this new variation of the coronavirus that they found in the UK. So we'll come back in about a year from now just to see how that's playing out and how the energy of mad cow disease is going to map the energy of this new coronavirus mutation. My fourth prediction though is that there's going to be a civil war or rebellion in Asia. My fifth prediction is that the UK, Australia and Canada will perform exceptionally well economically. And prediction number 6 is the rise of India. I made a video, I think in the middle of 2020, predicting the beginning of India's golden age, starting in the middle of 2021. And I looked at the hand of Narendra Modi and some of the symbols that he had on his hands. He's the Indian Prime Minister, by the way, for those of you who don't know. I think India's golden age is going to be starting up there, and you're just going to see the rapid rise of that country over the next 100 or 200 years. When I made that video on India's golden age, a lot of you guys didn't quite understand what I meant by that. You thought that all Indians across the board are going to start improving their lives. I don't think it's going to quite work out that way. More likely, it's probably going to map America's golden age, which I think is actually on the decline at the moment. You know, the last, say, 60 years, you can say, undoubtedly, that America just reigned supreme in the world. But not all Americans benefited from that. There are a lot of Americans living in poverty, and still are, throughout all of that time. Similarly, I think there's going to continue to be a lot of Indians who will struggle and suffer over the next 100 or 200 years as India's rapid rise continues. But we're going to be able to map this with hindsight to the year 2021. That's when India takes off like a rocket. And that, guys, are all my predictions for 2021. We'll come back in about a year or continuously throughout the year just to see how we're going in on this. And until that time, I want to wish you guys a very happy new year. I know this year's been tough for a lot of people. Next year's going to be a good one though. There's going to be a lot of optimism despite some of these negative predictions that I've made. Overall, I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.